Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 186. We are coming off of a fantastic weekend celebrating PCA's 70th anniversary. We're out of PCA's national office today. To my right, I have Manny Albin, our technical director, Rob Sass, our panorama editor, and of course, at the controls, Damon Lowney, who puts all this together and make it possible. On this episode, we'll be covering what we saw and what we did at the open house. We discuss Porsche needs to make sports cars to survive, and we'll update you on Porsche news and all things PCA. I want to make sure we thank our presenting sponsor, Pirelli. Pirelli tires have to achieve the highest levels of performance, safety, noiselessness, and grip on the road surface. Innovative tires that can satisfy even the most specific mobility needs of the end consumer. And thank you all for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, what are you waiting for? Grab that VIN, make yourself a member. And for those of you that don't currently own a Porsche, we have the test drive program where we will unlock resources to get that special Porsche on your driveway or in your garage. Again, PCA.org. How's everyone doing?
Doing great.
I see, last time Rob was here, he was independent Rob.
Oh,
and now he's married Rob.
How's it feel, my friend? Congratulations.
It feels great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, anything changed? Do you feel different or?
No.
I think you kind of let yourself go.
I was going to say.
He's a little he's shaggy looking today.
I forgot that we have a camera here.
She hates that, by the way.
The great start doing things that she hates. Well, we had a fantastic event here, and regions across the U.S. and Canada celebrating PCA's 70th anniversary. It happened to coincide with our annual open house, and boy, did people show up.
Yeah, considering that we had not a conflicting, but a adjacent event happening right after the open house at Hunt Valley Porsche. They were doing also a celebration of PCA's 70th anniversary. So some people are little uneasy about being able to make both events, so they chose one or the other. But wow, we did not. There wasn't any open parking spots, and it filled up so quick. My friends asked me, "What time should we be there to get a parking spot in the circle?" And I said, "I thinking to myself, by 9." By 8:30, we were almost out of spots.
The quote of the day was Paul Gentili walked up to me. He goes, "What time does this 10 o'clock event start?" Because he was here. I think he was here at like 9, and he was, he was not in the back of the seat, back row seats, but his car was not front and center. There were people here so early.
Kind of strange because there's no precedent at PCA events for people getting there early.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, it's like,
and in the center row, somebody pulled up with a GT4 RS, and all these spaces are actually spoken for. I had to explain to him that yes, you have a GT car, and yes, it's a GT4 RS, but this poker game, you need a Courier GT or better to get in, and there was some nice machinery lined up in that row.
Thank you to you, Manny, and to the volunteers who coordinated and instructed everybody to park nicely. I know also around the circle, we have to have everybody back up their cars. And for whatever reasons, a lot of people in our club don't know how to back up their car, at least in a straight fashion. It's very difficult.
Well, we've done this long enough for those listening. It's literally a circle that we have before you enter our
cul-de-sac,
our business park. And usually where tractor trailers do a turnaround when they realize they can't go in the business park with their tractor trailers. So, we line these parking spaces up ahead of time because there's no parking spaces pre-lined, so we use tape. But I tell the volunteers, I'm like, don't randomly put cars in parking spaces. You got to start at one end and then come around the corner, because if you randomly put them, people angle differently, and then you're really messed up parking wise. So I think we've done it long enough that we understand. Because somebody else asked, well, you can put more cars into there. I'm like, then you can't pull the cars out. People can't back in. I said, trust me, we've done this long enough. We know where
not our first rodeo. And it looked fantastic. We had the two doors in the cul-de-sac. We had cars across the front. We had an adjacent parking lot. I would say we had roughly 350 people.
Oh, at least.
Yeah. And man, the tent was full at all times.
What's interesting is that they're all taking Ozempic or something was going on, because of that record turnout. we had so much food left over from Mission Barbecue. So I'm guessing people.
I'm like, where is he going with this?
I'm guessing people to go for seconds or something.
Is there any in the fridge?
Well,
Yes.
There's some here in the fridge.
There's 3 trays of barbecue chicken. The pork and the brisket are gone, but
I
Oh,
know what
of
I know
course.
what it is because some people
The,
left
the
their-
chicken and sausage are left.
I think we order the same amount for the same expected number of people, but because a good number of people left early to stage their cars at the evening event, I bet you we had the reason we had left over.
I blame it on Ozempic.
Brought to you by our favorite weight loss cars. Speaking of cars that came out, I want to thank the folks. One, the quote unquote special cars that came out for us that we reserved spots for. We had the Carrera GT. We had an ST. We had Chip Reichert's 904.
T7 RS lightweight.
tribute car, yeah. Bob Miller with the GT3 RS 4-liter, and then. I mean, there was just so many cool
And
cars.
shout out to Dan Zadra and Steve Wood, who were my
Yeah.
main parkers in the morning. I didn't have to worry about anything because these guys know how to park cars and how to help PCAers back into spaces. And they were very quick as soon as cars came in to get them situated. But yeah, like Rob was alluding to, a member showed up. I think it was his first open house. And when he started driving by, you immediately think it's a tribute car. It was an RS, and I figured it was an RS clone, but it still looked really good. It had like nice patina to it. And I pulled him out of the line. I said, why don't you park in front on the curb? And because they were going to send him to the main lot in front of our office. And it turns out this was a real RS lightweight that I think was in storage for, did you hear, Damon, how many years was it? 30
years. It's got a French license plate on the front.
Yeah, I
French car.
forget how long, but yeah, it was in storage for a while, and he had the pictures in a booklet that he had on the windshield.
It belonged to some farmer. Bought after a race, super low kilometers.
Had all the rally stuff on it, all the lights on it, and you could tell it wasn't like brand new stuff because they had like vintage tape still on it, holding the lights together. And
I think whoever was the original contact of this car was, reaching out to the farmer for decades to say, can we buy it? Can we buy it? And then I guess finally one day he broke, and they managed to be able to scoop it up. But like you said, Manny, it is all original with super low mileage and being an RS lightweight. The beauty is this car is not too far from us, and the gentleman that now owns it owns as well as some other cool cars that we're going to get in-depth video review of it. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, so if you've never been to the open house, just to give you an idea of what it's all about, is once you get there at quote unquote 10 o'clock and park your car, we have breakfast, donuts, coffee. We have merchandise from various events that we kind of blow out sale. We have a huge 30 by 60 tent where you can just sit, relax, catch up with friends. Then we do tours of the office. We do 3
no,
tours.
we don't do it. That's the Vugwin.
It's a Vugwin
reality
tour. Yeah, exactly. Every tour is different because I remember different things on every tour. And then people hang out for lunch. Mission Barbecue always does a great job for us. And then people continue. We have a DJ. And right around 1:45, we handle raffle tickets, and people will go home with great prizes such as set of tires. And I will thank Michelin for donating the tires for that. People get tons of stuff from Griot's Garage. We gave away waxing kits and books and yeah. So it was a fun time had by many. I was so surprised to see how many people came from far away. I saw people from Connecticut, Will's from Ohio, Damon?
Indiana.
Oh, he's
Fort
from
Wayne.
Indiana. Yeah, he's from Indiana. We had folks fly in from Las Vegas. Nita and John Burroughs.
yeah.
They came in from Las Vegas for this. I'm like, way cool, very cool. But like I said, it was September 13th was officially PCA's birthday, and a lot of regions had incredible events themselves. We're trying to collect some photos and stories, and we'll share what they did a little bit later. How was the Porsche Hunt Valley?
You know, it was
anniversary.
interesting. It was a great event. Steve Postal, the general manager, put on a great spread for everyone, catered drinks and whatnot. But it was kind of funny because they also had a display, but because it was the food and everything was inside the dealership was air conditioned. Most people stayed inside the dealership. Instead of going out to the parking lot to look at the cars, which in our open house we didn't have a air conditioned dealership, so people were forced to be looking at the cars, either that or go underneath our tent where we had our parade store stuff, and same amount of camaraderie, but without the cars, they were all inside enjoying. I guess maybe if they had gone to the open house, they had enough being out in the sun, because we did luck out in the weather.
Oh, it was perfect weather.
Not super hot. But definitely dry and plenty of sun.
Very nice. Let me see. Before we get into what Porsche needs to do to make sports cars survive, I'd like to recognize our latest corporate sponsor, Auto Atlanta. If you're chasing down Porsche parts that are impossible to find, maybe you're restoring a 944 Turbo, need a trim piece for your 914, or searching for something specific for your 911 SC. Either way, Auto Atlanta has you covered. They've been taking care of Porsches and only Porsche since 1978. They've got every Porsche part that you might need. They can ship internationally, and they have expert helpers to a phone call away. No matter where you are in the world, they'll get it to you. You can just go to autoatlanta.com. You can talk to their all-star Porsche specialist that handles everything from complex mechanical repairs for full restorations, regular servicing, or even detailing for your car. They also buy and sell pre-owned vehicles. So if there's a Porsche in garage that needs a new home or a new lease on life, call them. They might buy it. Whether you're rebuilding a classic or just a single clip to finish a project, Auto Atlanta has you covered. Again, autoatlanta.com. There is a 5% discount code. Just type in PCA, the number 5, OFF. Again, Porsche parts, Porsche people, Porsche passion since 1978. Let's get into this question that I've been seeing quite a bit online. And are we thinking that we might be able to solve this this problem?
No, we don't get paid enough to although, when Rob and I were talking on Monday, it's no secret that there will probably be a dedicated Porsche CEO by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oliver Bloma will probably stay as head of Volkswagen, but I think the investors are calling for a separate CEO just for Porsche. So that incoming CEO is going to be put with a interesting task of he's going to be taking over a company that is like many other automotive companies, reeling from the Chinese. I don't know what you call, not decline in sales, because they're selling EVs in their cars. They're just not selling other brands.
A market
all
shift.
Chinese.
Market shift.
Market shift from foreign cars
to their national cars,
domestic EVs.
Yeah,
exactly. And so we started talking about and whether or not Porsche's future for sports cars looks a little bit grim. It's not something that we're really excited about.
Did we think we'd ever be here again? I mean, seriously, I think a lot of us thought, and probably a lot of people in management thought too, that the early to mid 1990s were maybe the last time that Porsche was going to be is going to be facing a serious challenge, and here we are again.
Well, I mean, businesses always have to evolve, right? And the consumers also evolve and change. And I think back in the day in the 90s, when they were primarily a sports car company, they needed to bring something new to the table to be able to survive and evolved, right? And so now the question is a sports car part of that equation? Does the consumer want Porsche, or can they be profitable at the size that they are now as a sports car manufacturer? And that's a tough question to answer, because as you know, their number one seller is the SUV, the Macan, right? Or was the Macan. And that's what people are buying. Of course, us enthusiasts that are probably listening and at the table here want them to make sports cars forever. And what I would say is we need to kind of root for Porsche to figure out what is it that they need to do to be able to still make sports cars for us enthusiasts.
So to clear things up, Porsche is going to keep on making the 911. They've said that they're going to try to keep it ICE powered as long as possible. We're seeing that with the hybrid. They're continuing. There's no talk of the 911 not being ICE powered, but is the 911 enough? Because I think when Rob said do whatever we think, see ourselves here, I was thinking even a couple of years ago, because a couple of years ago we were under the impression that the Macan Boxster EV would swoop in, and we would see how awesome it was and how much better, and it would be an easy transition. But then when the battery company went bankrupt, it really slowed things down. And I haven't heard anything about an exact date of when we're going to see Cayman or Boxster EV. I don't even see them testing on the at the Nürburgring, which gets me nervous that it's something going on that we haven't heard yet with that car.
You know, I guess that transition that we were hoping was going to be available for the sports car enthusiasts was important to us, yes, but again, you know, what's the market? What does the market want? Does the market want a EV Boxster Cayman, and is it enough? I would say that it's probably not. They need to make this next SUV projects to be successful, to be able to continue to do sports cars.
Right. I mean, I can tell you what the market doesn't want, and that is anything that the enthusiasts want. I mean, there's no quicker way to lose your shirt as an OEM than to listen to the enthusiasts, because we're we're vocal, we're opinionated. We say, this is what you should build, this is what we want. They do it, and we don't buy it, and nobody else does.
I wouldn't say that we don't always buy it. I mean, we do buy it, but I just think, you know, as far as the volume of what enthusiasts are buying, it's not enough.
Right.
When you have the market shift change from, you know, the volume of China, you know, an enthusiast purchase is not going to make up for that shift.
Right. But I think to Manny's point earlier, you know, we refer to Porsche as a sports car company, but in fact, you know, what is it, like 80-20? You know, the sports cars.
16%, I think.
Yeah, less than 20% of their output now is sports cars. So I think the question Manny's asking is, are the sports cars essential to the Porsche mystique? Do you always need to have a 911 and the GT cars with that mystique and that halo filtering down to everything else? I mean, Porsche always says that no matter what segment they go into, they are going to field the sportiest entry in that segment. But, you know, is it essential to have a 911 anchoring that?
I think so. I think, you know,
Yeah,
I think
I
the
do
brand...
too.
The brand that we all love is, you know, you have to have that sports car in there. The question is, do they keep their business model the way that it is, as large as it is? Can they operate with just a sports car? And I think the answer is no. Sports car meaning two-door sports car. But yeah, so something's got to change in this equation. Honestly, as Manny said earlier, I would not want to be in that seat to try to figure this out, because it's not just understanding what your consumer wants to buy, but you also have rules and regulations from multiple countries, you know, that's going to allow you to produce and sell said cars.
So,
Right.
So the reason, for those listening, the reason why Porsche stopped making the Boxster Cayman gas version was because of these cybersecurity rules. And at the time they just made the decision that they were going to stop making it, their plan was to bring the Boxster EV, slide that in, like I said before, and everything be hunky-dory. Because they made the decision, they completely stopped developing the gas version, much like they have with the Macan. They've stopped developing the gas Macan and focusing just on the EV, but the timelines didn't you know, match. And so you just can't say, well, just keep on making gas-powered Boxster and Caymans. It's over. It's an easy decision. It's not the way it works. Yeah. And, you know, we've heard recently in the news they're coming out with the rumor is a front-wheel drive SUV, which I'm sure will be a VW or Audi based.
And we'll see if it's front-wheel drive based, but I don't think I've seen anything saying we're going to have a front-wheel drive SUV. Just the platform will be. So I do want to say that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm reading is that it will be.
What are we talking about? Like a Porsche Tiguan or something? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Front-wheel drive base, but probably with all-wheel drive.
It's got to be something fast they got to come out with. This.
An existing
Right.
platform.
And it took them a while to convert a Macan, which everyone was saying that was just going to be a Q5 warmed
Yeah.
over. But you saw how much work they put into that to make it a Porsche.
Right.
But so I don't know if they can move that fast to make this other fill-in SUV.
I'm getting
just
this
lift the
feeling-
Golf R and
right.
call it good.
Well, I'm getting this feeling that this front-wheel drive based SUV that Porsche is allegedly developing at this point, or reported to be developing or looking into, it just sounds very un-Porsche-like. Like if Porsche thinks that they should have engineered the first generation Macan from the ground up because it was too much to convert the Audi, what was it, Q5 into a Macan, then what are they doing with the front wheel drive? They're going to have to do more, or just send it in as a partially baked product, that's to satisfy sales, but not really anything else.
And they'll be
You have the look
slammed
of
by-
desperation and panic.
Yeah.
It'll be slammed by the critics
Right.
immediately. They do something like Damon says. It's not really a Porsche, and because the,
Oh, that's never
the
happened.
enthusiast will come right to tell everyone and his brother that this is just a warmed over. Tiguan
Does that
or-
matter? If the people who aren't enthusiasts buy it, but it keeps the company afloat. I'm
Right.
not sure if it's a good or bad thing, but I probably wouldn't buy that.
I would say it's a
SUV.
good thing. That's why, again, I just, it triggers me when people try to hate on, cars that are not completely the enthusiast cars. Like, we should all be rallying that Porsche makes a decision and the car that they build is going to be successful, because it will save the rest of the company and save the enthusiast
Well, I
cars.
think
Yeah.
the reason why people say that is because Porsche has an elevated brand, because they have that mystique that I would argue that Mercedes and BMW no longer have. And people are afraid that mystique will disappear because they're going to a quick solution, lower price car that
I get that, but if they don't have a quick solution, it's definitely going to disappear because there won't be a company.
well, that's what the is that going to be enough? It's
Yeah.
like is it the short term solution going to hurt a long term goal? It's because to me, without the Porsche mystique, then what do you have?
Yeah.
Well, I know, but it depends. Where does the mixed heritage aspect of things has always been tricky and complicated for Porsche, and honestly, the three of us sitting at this table know that pretty well. 914 owner, 914 owner, 924 owner. So we're all kind of experienced with these cars that were either joint ventures or started out as somebody else's project or something, and there was pushback in the market early on. 40 and 50 years down the road, the cars are loved and well regarded, but that's not going to help them. So, I think you all have points. I think a warmed over Tiguan will struggle in the market. The Porsche Mystique is worth something. They have spent a lot of effort turning Porsche into essentially a very valuable luxury brand. But for once, I don't have an answer. And we've had this conversation in the past 3 and 4 years ago, and we talked about, well, they need a true entry level sports car. And I don't believe that anymore, because I don't think there's a market for an entry level sports car. I just don't think that, the 20 and 30 somethings, who, might have, between $30,000 and $40,000 to spend on a car are going to buy something frivolous. They need a crossover that does everything.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get at is like the younger generation. Do they look at two-door cars, especially two-seater cars, as not not only not practical, but something that they don't necessarily put in high regard, and they'd rather have a four-seater hot hatch or a SUV that will perform like a two-door sports car because it's,
Well, I mean, that's a I think that's the ideal. And I'm not saying it's a lack of enthusiasm. I'm just saying that kind of a simple fact that wages haven't really kept pace with inflation. And, 30, 40 years ago, you could have a two-seater sports car and something practical, in your 30s. And I don't think that's the case right now. I don't think it's a lack of enthusiasm or desire. I just think it's, this is where we are.
So you're saying that the crossover, like Macan, will make the enthusiasts happy, the up and coming enthusiasts, if you will, as well as better or as good.
No,
as
I wasn't joking before. I think a Porsche-fied Golf R, would be a really good compromise. When I think of, people are always asking, what's your one car solution? And Golf R is a pretty compelling thing. All-wheel drive.
Golf R is too small for today's world. For most people, I think I love a Golf R. Don't get me wrong, but I think for most people, a Golf R is too small. Just like your E90 wagon, your E90 wagon is too small for most families.
I'm gonna push back a little bit and say that a Golf R is the perfect size car. It's just that most people don't believe that.
Right.
Because they go and buy a bigger car and think they need it.
It works for Europeans
opinion.
with families just fine. And, you have to get creative. There's a rooftop carrier on my E90 now.
Too much work. Why? You gotta go strap on an extra box for the top of your car and worsen your gas mileage.
Don't you
that's
have
what
one?
you do.
Don't you have one for your minivan?
That when I go on trips.
I was going to say, yes, that is exactly what you do.
That is what you do.
Because that's how you save $15,000 getting a small hatchback compared to an SUV.
That's what the rest of the world does.
That's
go to Europe. But
that's not what that
I know, it's America. But
that's not Porsche's customer base.
Yeah.
And I agree with everything you're saying. That's very true. But Porsche's customer base isn't
right.
the up and coming, the growing family, if you will.
Right. Not anymore. 50 years ago, it might have been, but not now. I don't know what they do. They clearly put a lot of their eggs in the basket of the Chinese market. And now I think 29% of their dealers have shuttered. And by 2026, I think it's going to be close to 40% are going to be gone. So, that's huge.
Let me throw this into you because it's always in the details, right? Like we can talk about design of cars, what type of cars, Just think about from the materials and logistics of what they've been planning. We because of our NDA probably find out about cars maybe 2-3 years in advance, but I'm guessing planning at least 5 years in advance. If 5 years ago they were thinking they were going to go all electric, they build the facilities, they make all these contracts with batteries, they do the frame whatever's to build these electric Boxers, Caymans. Now they're having to pivot. How do you pivot that train that's been planned on coming for 5 years? The quickest way to make that plan change is to see what's existing out there. Like, I don't know how you would do it otherwise.
Right.
No,
right.
That's why they're coming out with this. It's not confirmed as a Taycan, but we're calling it a Taycan type SUV because that's a quick solution. Mm-hmm. They're not stopping EV. It's just they're not making as many EVs as they thought they would be 5 years ago. That was part of the Chinese market fallout, but the factories aren't changing over to gas powered. It's all EV, full steam ahead, not just for Porsche, but for every other manufacturer in the world. It's coming, whether you like EVs or not. They're coming. So now they have to, as you say, pivot. And in any business, you got to find another source of revenue to make up for what you're losing out of China, which is significant. So that's going to be the interim SUV.
On the lighter side, they've got a lot of really good parts bins to borrow from. We don't see them in North America, but you've got Seat, their sub-brand Cupra, you've got Skoda, in addition to Volkswagen and Audi. So there is a lot out there that they can dip into.
Or can they just build more 911s? Because right now there's a long wait for 911s. There's not 911s sitting on dealer lots
That's true.
waiting for people to buy them. So if there's that big of a need for the sports cars, and what I worry about, I guess from a selfish point of view, from the club point of view, is this gap of not having the mid-engine car, the affordable sports car. How many years are we going to go with this gap? And that's going to affect our club in down the road, because you're going to have this gap of affordable sports cars that we can buy used.
Yeah.
And that's how we get our members. You know, most of our members, I would venture to say, are buying an entry-level Porsche, which is a used Porsche.
What was I think you learned this at a recent trip with Porsche, Rob, but what's the median income of a new 911 buyer?
The median household income for a new 911 buyer is $849,000. The median income for just any Porsche buyer is $749,000. And sort of the interesting thing about that is what a seismic change that is from, 30 or 40 years ago, when, in the early 70s, engineers, pilots, architects, people who were making the equivalent of a $300,000 income today, the upper middle class, it was about $40,000 or $50,000 back then. That was kind of the bread and butter of the new Porsche world. And, those are people now who are shopping CPO cars, if they're shopping Porsche at all. So, a lot of eggs in the basket of people beyond the upper middle class and the Chinese market.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where we are.
I wonder if the average or median income of households who bought the 718s, maybe not a GT4 RS, but like a base came in, and some of the more regular models is down a bit, or is lower than the 911. You have to think it is.
It
lower.
has to be, and those numbers are definitely skewed by a
few 911 STs in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's a big number.
Yeah, because the way I see it, I don't think in 2025 or 2024, let's say 2024, when both the 718 and the 911 were there for a full model year, a 911 would have been a much bigger stretch. Let's say same income, it's a much bigger stretch to buy a 911 than it is a base or S 718 Boxster or Cayman. I could see myself doing something like that if I were in a different position, maybe had one car, been saving my money, I'll splurge on a Cayman S. But it seems like just splurging on 911 isn't really possible for someone who might be in that. So that's what worries me, is that, yeah, as many said, there's no car under the 911, and whether it's your tastes that you may not prefer a 911 compared to a mid-engine car, or money, it's not there. And it feels weird not having a sports car.
Yeah, I mean,
it can't afford.
Not to force a segue, but it could have been, one of the cars that we talked about, prior to this was the concept car that they dumped on everybody in Porsche Unseen, the 904 Living Legend, or whatever the V2
my
Ducati powered
favorite car, which I still think that Porsche Sonderwunsch, is, I think they're making it. I think somebody supplied them an XL1, and it's someday that will be an actual car that drives around.
I would love to see it, and I love this car. I mean, even though it's, how old is it now? Is it like 12 years old?
2013 is when they actually did the concept, and it used the VW XL1. Just as a recap, it's a fuel economy minded vehicle with a 3-cylinder diesel hybrid.
Right, but this version, the Porsche version, has a Ducati V2 with 200 horsepower.
Exactly.
That revs to 12,000 RPMs.
And it's about 2,000 pounds. It's actually less than 2,000 pounds, I believe.
So like a carbon fiber.
So, once again, Ozempic will help us, because your personal weight will affect the performance of this car.
Yes,
right,
it will.
Right. But I mean, my view of Porsche has always had a tortured relationship with entry-level cars anyway. And my view of the viability of an entry-level sports car has evolved and changed over the last couple of years. But I love that concept. It's beautiful. And if they were to build something that was outlandishly gorgeous like that, but just happened to be somewhat affordable, is it going to appeal to people, who are sort of entry level buyers and to people who could afford GT cars? I mean, once in a while that you do capture lightning in a bottle. Porsche did it with the Speedster. It was the loss leader at $29.95 or whatever it was. But people loved the car.
That was like 75 years ago.
I know. It doesn't happen often. But I don't know. But I mean, that car to me is something that could capture some of that. Because I mean, it's ridiculous. And the one thing I think people lose sight of is the fact that I think this is a quote from the Jaguar founder, Sir William Lyons. It doesn't cost any more to make something beautiful. And I think that Porsche's entry-level cars have always been kind of hamstrung by the feeling that, you got to make it slightly less gorgeous than the more expensive car. But, I think if you did something like that, you would get people from all over the spectrum in terms of what they can afford.
I agree. It's beautiful. I would be an instant seller. I don't think it would be an entry-level car, though. Unfortunately, it is so beautiful. It would everybody and his brother would want. It would be like the Miata when the Miata came out. Right. Everyone wanted one, and they weren't selling for list price.
Well, I think that's if they're in that position where they're selling something, the 986 when it first came out. I mean, there was a markup on those in the very, very beginning, right?
I think like anything new, because people wanted to be the first one on the block, but that wore out fairly quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, could you do something like that? I mean, this is where I have zero engineering background in a way that was kind of modular, where you had the entry level V2 Ducati powered 12,000 RPM Screamer. You had a battery EV. And you had one with a flat six. I mean, you covered a lot of bases, with prices that range from $45,000 to $100,000. Is that viable?
Not under 100, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's even Porsche's market anymore.
If that car came out tomorrow at $70,000, I think there would be takers. But I don't think it could save the company.
No, there's not enough volume in sports cars.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's a matter of saving the company, because the company's going to be saved by the SUVs,
right? Yes. Right. But as we said at the beginning of the conversation, you have to have sports cars. Yes. You've got to have the sports car mojo. That's.
Here's an interesting thought that I don't think came up in our pre-podcast discussions. Porsche used to be hired by different manufacturers to tune their cars. Audi, Seat, I believe Skoda, Volvo, I believe, had some cars. That
Harley Davidson.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
I wonder, could Porsche get back into doing some, like a Porsche special for other manufacturers? I mean...
They could, but it's not going to say. I mean, we're looking to make for a big deficit, and that's what I'm trying to. Yeah. I'm trying to think in their minds of what do they need to do to make up for that.
I think deficit. The interim SUV hopefully will make up.
They need that ICE, that gas powered sub Macan.
My concern is just that the brand isn't sacrificed because they got to maintain what got me into this brand, that mystique, that Porsche mystique of what grabs people, what makes people addicted to Porsche, where's that passion? So I went to our friend AI, and I asked Google AI, what is the Porsche Mystique? And they did a pretty good job of giving me bullet points. Engineering and innovation. Mm-hmm. Porsche, I think it's safe to say German engineering. Motorsport success, 100% absolutely. They always have to stay in motorsports because that's what people equate. That's what I did. Endurance racing is what I always thought Porsche was famous for. Timeless design.
Yeah.
I agree also because you can't tell. The average person has a hard time telling Cayenne years apart, Macan years, the different generations, 911s. We can for little cues, but the rest of the world thinks it's all one easy evolution. Performance and drivability, same way. We love to make fun of some Italian cars because they're so hard to get into or they have so many nuances and whatnot. Porsche is practical yet efficient, and craftsmanship and quality.
Yeah.
So all those things that make up the mystique.
Yeah.
And I think the motorsports part is why they can never stop making sports cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Will it be the core of their business? No. But they have to keep on making sports cars, and hopefully more than just the 911.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one. And not to make fun, because I'm also a longer time BMW CCA member, is where I feel like BMW over the last couple of decades have gone to making, they kind of went away from the enthusiast side and went, from the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 series cars, right? And they're all,
And then the styling got horrendous.
and the styling, and it just kind of became,
Which they seem to be correcting.
so mainstream that I think the mystique of a BMW has fallen. And
Yeah.
I hate to say it because I'm not trying to pick on them, but I just say it to emphasize the fact that we don't want Porsche to get so broad in what they are offering and so vanilla that the brand and the mystique goes away.
BMW had to do that, though, because it was just BMW. They didn't have a Skoda, an Audi, a Volkswagen, which is, the one thing that I've always found kind of interesting is Porsche doesn't necessarily need to compete in the 7-passenger 3-row SUV market because, they have Audi, they have Volkswagen to do that. But for whatever reason, they seem to have gotten a little bit of this kind of BMW feeling where if there's profit to be made in a segment, we're going to be in that segment.
So what if I told you that they were considering a 3-row Porsche SUV? Would you be for it, or would you?
Well,
be...
they already announced that they are. I mean, it's not a secret.
Right.
They've been working on it
Right.
for 3 years, and it's one of those things where I just consider it as a. Well, I guess they need to do this to keep themselves a business.
Yeah.
Why can't they just move more Q7s? I don't know. I mean, they are going to say that it's going to be the sportiest 3-row SUV, and it may well be, but I don't know.
I know they'll sell. That's the crazy
Yeah.
thing, is they'll sell. Like I saw more recently the BMW M, I think it's a 6 or 7 series SUV that has like crazy horsepower, just like the Cayenne
Turbo GT.
Turbo GT. Like, to me, those cars did not even make sense initially, but they're hot. People love them, and
But you know what Porsche will say? I think Calvin told us. He said they sold more Turbo GTs than they did Boxsters.
that's
I think
crazy.
it was in 2023
Yeah.
or 4, which
Yeah.
blew me away. Not Cayennes, Turbo GT.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The most expensive Cayenne they made, they sold more than Boxsters. So, yes, I know if Porsche's listening. I know we love to talk, and sometimes we don't buy the cars.
Yeah.
And people are speaking with their wallets and buying the SUVs and not the sports cars. But they still need the sports cars to keep that brand alive. Otherwise, then people can easily decide between all the other brands because it's all going to look the same.
Right. I mean, the loss of the Boxster and the Cayman might not hurt terribly from a financial standpoint, but to your point, just the fact that they are in one less sports car segment is
So I do
is
want to say, I feel like we should be clear that the 718 is temporarily gone because the EV is not ready yet. They're still producing the EV and developing it.
We hope. There hasn't been a lot of they haven't announced anything they're stopping.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
last news we had was that the battery manufacturer went out of business, and obviously they're looking for
Right.
a replacement because they were having the special battery made because I think it was going to be sitting in the middle. They wanted to keep that mid-engine feel, and I was super excited about it, and I still am.
Yeah.
I'm dying to drive this car because I think it may be the first EV sports car that's truly
Well, it's going to be
a
the
lot of
first
fun.
EV sports
Yeah.
car since the Tesla Roadster. Let's face it, I can't think of another one, right?
And it's
I mean,
not just about speed; it's about the driving experience that makes it a sports car. Because there's lots of fast EVs, right?
Oh no, I have complete faith in Porsche engineering that they're going to just
Right.
I think this Tiguan SUV will also be impressive. I don't think they're just going to slap a Porsche badge on it like Volkswagen did with the Voyager, not the Voyager, the Caravan.
Oh, yeah.
and called it theirs.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it will be I'm sure they're working hard to give it as much of a Porsche touch as possible. And like Boo said, I wish them the best. But that's what we've already been down this road 20 years ago, where if this is what they got to make to stay alive and keep on producing sports cars and go racing, then God bless them and let's buy every single one.
Exactly.
Just don't forget that even though they're not the top sellers, the sports cars are very important. And yes, hopefully the Boxster Cayman EV comes out soon. We haven't heard a lot of news about it, and that kind of worries me. Because you would think they would try to keep the rumor mill alive.
The past couple months, like they pop up online. Like I think something I shared in eBreak yesterday is that they're still testing some of these 718 platforms and doing stuff. But yeah, just no news on it.
Yeah.
It's been very quiet recently, and once again, that worries me that something's going on. They haven't told us yet, and I can understand that suppliers, go out of business and you got to completely repivot. And EV batteries aren't something you can go to the local Home Depot and buy extra ones and stick them in.
I'm still having like the I can't unsee it moment about the Volkswagen Chrysler Voyager. Was it the Rutan? What was it called?
Yes,
Rutan. Very good.
Oh my God!
Rob Fast for the win.
The really funny part
Wow.
of that is they got everything but the stow and go seating. Chrysler
Yeah.
would not give
Really?
Yeah.
The stow and go seating was the best part of it.
Yeah, it was like the Norden bomb side. It's
I
like
gotta
you're not
admit,
getting the secret
There's
stow and
a
go.
Rutan in my neighborhood, and whenever I drive by it, I'm thinking to myself, that would be a cool daily, just because it's a Volkswagen. If I could find like a red one and just put
I'll find
Porsche,
you one. If you-
Porsche script on it and whatnot.
I think they're all gone. I didn't like the Chrysler. It was the Ultra Drive transmission or whatever, the lemony. Didn't that get them all?
I can't. I
haven't seen a Rutan in forever.
It was so much more. It was like you said, they didn't have what the Chrysler had. It was It was a Chrysler.
Yeah.
So unless you really wanted the VW name, I couldn't see why people went. Unless I just thought, did people actually go into the dealership and think this was really a Volkswagen product, and not do research and find out it's just a Chrysler with badging on it?
I don't know. I mean, I remember reading like the gauges were different. They had like that sort of Germanic gauge font to them. Volkswagen swears they did something to the suspension, but it was basically, and they're all gone.
Can I fast forward to an example where that just recently happened? Have you heard about the Honda Prologue?
Yes, it's GM.
It's a GM.
GM.
Could you imagine going
Ultium?
into a Honda dealership thinking you're going to buy a Honda? You buy this Honda Prologue, and it's a GM.
Blazer EV.
It's a Blazer EV.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, in all fairness, and I'm no GM cheerleader. What is the Ultium? What's the platform that's on? It's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
So-
would be a big.
But
basket.
let's end off in this segment on a positive note, in the sense where, with all of this serious considerations and figuring out the puzzle of the situation that they're in, they're still doing some pretty cool stuff, especially with the release of the GTS T Hybrid and the Turbo S Hybrid. I mean, that car is wicked.
Yeah, 710 horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
701.
701. Sorry,
So they
a
could-
little dyslexia.
So they could call it the most powerful 911 or road going Porsche ever made, whichever one, because it had 1 horsepower more than the GT2 RS.
Yes.
Wonder how much that was planned.
I don't think
was
it was planned
deliberate.
at all.
It
It
was
was totally
deliberate.
random.
Yeah, totally random.
Yeah.
But then the next question is, what will the next GT2 RS power be? 700.
I'm going to say 770. How about that?
Yeah.
What was the delta between the last Turbo S and the last GT2 RS? The last was, I guess, 991.2?
It was like 580 or 620 compared to 700. Because wasn't the Turbo S 620 or 640?
I don't
Or
know.
did that come in the 992 generation?
800 horsepower and rear-wheel drive would be,
Yeah.
Diabolical.
Yeah.
Can I say, with all of this that's going on and the 718 going away, what do you think is going to happen to the secondary market?
I knew you were going to ask
It's
that.
going to go up.
It's going to go
Or
up, right?
it won't
has
fall as
to.
quickly.
Yeah, it can't fall. I mean, supply and demand.
Well, I think a lot depends on the economy. If there's still money there, then I think it'll, once people realize, like I said, it depends on how long Porsche goes without giving us a replacement. And then when it's going to get, the pricing is going to get to the point where it's just like the 97.2s or the 997.2s. Suddenly they got into a price range where people are like, oh, this is a great buy. And everyone started looking for them and found out they were hard to find because the economy was terrible and they didn't make that many. I think there's a lot of factors, but
Like right now, my nephew Willis, he's looking for something in the $60,000 range, and we were thinking 996 turbo or 991, maybe .1, maybe .2. There's not a whole lot out there.
991, they are the best buy right now.
But they're not out
Yeah,
there.
no,
Like,
they're
there's
saying that, and I
99
looked yesterday. We've been saying it, and .1, 991.1s, especially the 20% or whatever they made with manual transmissions, are on their
out,
way
right?
up.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't find.
It's still
I
a
can't find
60.
it
And
on
they're hard
manual.
to find. They're
Yeah.
really hard to find.
Yeah, 60s is upper limit, which I think that's the problem.
The crazy thing is, I think you will pay more for a 997.2 than a 991.1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what makes them such a great buy is
yeah.
that they're phenomenal cars. And next to the 992, they look kind of small.
Yeah.
It's only like an inch or something. People, the 991 owners are celebrating because their cars look smaller now.
But the strange thing is, though, you mentioned 996 twin turbos. They seem to have leveled off. I think you can still buy manual twin turbo. 60, 70,000 miles for.
I would say the
60,
cars
65.
out there, they have somewhat leveled off. There just aren't many of them. And the
No.
problem is the ones that are available are kind of questionable what kind of ownership history. Like they're not original. They don't have low mileage. So yeah, they leveled off, but finding a good example one, they're just not even being posted.
A lot of Tiptronic turbo cabs
yeah,
out there right now.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And those are in the 40s.
Which is a fine car. If you don't,
Yeah.
unless you absolutely definitely want a stick shift.
Yeah.
My Boxer Tiptronic, not by choice.
Yeah.
Because my wife needed a Tiptronic, but I don't hate driving it.
No.
Isn't there something? I was looking at a Matt Farah's place is selling 997.1 with a tip, and he was mentioning that there's somebody who makes a shift kit for them that basically improves the shift quality of the tip. I have no idea who that is, but
If you know,
Yeah.
comment below.
yeah.
All right. Well, let me remind folks to be sure to head over to PCA.org to sign up for PCA's newsletters, Performance News, eBrake News, and Mart Fresh News. I think we have 2 news items that Manny has put on here. First one is talking about a prototype. Is it Taycan?
Yeah. Yes. It's I'm trying to find a news item here. I guess Damon has it on the screen. They're calling it the GT4 RS. I don't think that's what it's going to be called. It may be called the Taycan Turbo RS, which would be pretty cool, having a 4-door RS. But yeah, they're if you thought the Turbo GT was fast, this has I believe it's saying it has Montai touches on it.
Well, we see that rear wheel disc definitely looks Montai.
Yeah, that would be ultra cool. Even if they just called it a Turbo GT with the Montai package, that'd be very cool that Montai's getting into.
Look at those flares.
Man, that thing.
Oh
looks-
yeah, look at
thing
that.
looks
Yeah,
evil.
I hadn't noticed that before.
all the arrow rear wheel, arrow disc, big old wing on the back.
I'd love to drive that.
Yeah.
Stop making faces, Rob. It's a cool car.
No, I'm not at all. I think it's pretty wild. I'm
Again,
not.
No rear seat.
Yeah, but
Carbon
I'm like,
fenders.
yeah, just the Turbo GT was wild enough. I'm trying to imagine something.
I'm guessing they're selling the Turbo GT. I believe they said that their sales met or exceeded expectations. So
Yeah, the rear seat delete's kind of weird. I mean, it's like, but,
Has anyone seen one like out in the wild?
not the Y-Stock package one.
Yeah.
I've seen the regular turbo non-Y-Stock, so the wing isn't as aggressive as the Y-Stock package one. I don't know how many people really went for the rear seat deletion. I mean, you got to be pretty
That is a
dedicated.
specific use car.
yeah.
All right, next up, continue talking about electric vehicles. We're talking about wireless charging.
So Porsche is saying that is coming out in 2027, I think. Is that what it said?
And it looks like they used
2026.
a
2026.
camouflage Cayenne.
Yeah, so it's going to be basically just imagine like your phone being wirelessly charged, except you're going to have a plate in your driveway or your garage, and your car will also have a corresponding plate underneath. And you will drive within 4 to 6 inches. It will be a height clearance, and that's where the power will transmit from.
So no longer plugging in, you just park on top of it.
Park on top, 11 kilowatts. I think that's the future. I think that's going to be a future of all the places where people say, well, I live in an apartment building and there's no place I don't have a garage or whatnot. But I think more and more places will start installing these wireless chargers.
Charging pads.
I mean, it's not going to happen in 2026, but they're going to become more affordable and people are going to figure out how to mass produce them and do it safely.
Yeah, the technology is going to evolve, and we're going to...
I mean, how much easier do you want? You just pull up, and your car's going to light up and say, do you want to charge? And you say yes, and you start charging.
Yeah, or if there's one in a drive-through somewhere. I mean, how many times have we spent like 10 minutes at a fast food drive-through if you get like 30% charge?
Please, I do not want one in the drive-through. Can you imagine somebody going, I'm finishing charging, wait a minute.
My fries are getting cold.
There'd be some violence in drive-thrus because somebody wanted to get 2 more minutes of charging done. But I thought, at first I thought, well, suppose like if it's warm or something, that's going to attract cats or animals. But it said 4 inches, so that's pretty tight space. And I'm sure if anyone's sitting on it, they're going to... any animal one is going to climb off really quick when they see the car pull up. Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting that this is actually coming into being.
All right. Let me just make sure you know that November 16th at Porsche Santa Clarita will be unStock 2025. Registration is open. So if you have a modified Porsche and want to have it on display, make sure you register because those spots are limited. But if you're just looking to come out and hang out with us at unStock 2025, just show up November 16th, Porsche Santa Clarita.
And please, if you register, send a good picture of your car. Not one taken at night with the close up of the license plate.
Trust me, it's modified, Manny.
I really can't. I have to do Google searches on your car to figure out what does the car look like. Somebody must have taken a picture of this car elsewhere that I can find out what it looks like.
And here's an incentive for you: the better the photos that you send, the better Manny can tell that it's modified. The better he'll park you in
one of the better parking spaces.
Better spots. Otherwise, he's going to put you in the back.
Yeah, then you show up, and I'm like, I wish I would have known the car looked like this.
Exactly. Damon, you want to catch us up on videos?
Sure, yeah. So probably our main video that we came out with is, if you're on YouTube, you can kind of see that it's on our homepage right now. We'll see if it still is by the time this podcast comes out, but it's basically a 14 to 15 minute video about PCA's history from 1955 to 2025. And for how long that video is, we stuff in quite a lot of history. Patrick Long, a retired Porsche factory driver, narrates the whole thing. And if you were at Parade this year at Oklahoma City, you probably saw the video if you were at all the banquets. We released it in portions, so each banquet had like a 2 to 3 minute section of this video.
And if you're on the PCA cruise, you got to see it too.
Yep. And it's if you're an emotional person, I highly recommend you have a box of tissues next to you, because it's just really cool to see how far the club has come from 12 individuals sitting around wondering how they can support each other with this quirky little car that they have, to now 170,000 members in the U.S. and Canada, over 3,500 events just for one mark. When we do things nationally, we do things in the zones, we do things in the regions, and all the volunteers, thousands and thousands of volunteers that make all of this work. This is a nice tribute video. Grab a cup of coffee. It's definitely worth sitting back and enjoying.
Should also mention the special 70th anniversary issue of Panorama, the September issue that is just hitting mailboxes.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes, look for it.
Perfect for colorblind people.
It's but no, again, I've thanked Vu and Manny repeatedly, but their help in assisting with the photo shoots, finding cars, and everything was absolutely invaluable.
Yeah, it was definitely cool to be a part of. It was a lot of hard work, but it
4 a.m. shoot at an airport.
Yeah, in the rain with a 356. So, all right, I want to remind folks, if you're interested in doing some sim racing with fellow PCAers, check out PCASimRacing.com. We also had sim racing featured. The 70 for 70 special event was on PCA's YouTube channel as well. And we had PCA's club racing at Summit Point. It was also broadcasted live and still sits up on our YouTube channel if you want to check those out. Insider swag, if you're looking for a t-shirt, a cup, or perhaps a Insider water bottle, you can purchase there. Or if you're just looking for PCA Insider decals, send us your address information to podcast@pca.org and we'll send you a couple. Anything else before we wrap up? Man, this hour went by quick.
Yeah, no, it's we got some more interesting podcasts coming up with PCA history, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and if you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, put it in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on, how will Porsche solve this problem. We wish them all the best. It is a very complex puzzle to solve, but we're going to support them either way. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and consider sharing our show with fellow Porsche enthusiasts. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you down the road.